What's up, great people? Rich vibes. Welcome to another episode of Energy Rich. I am Ty or Tyshonna. You can call me whichever you prefer. And I'm so glad that you're back. I hope you guys enjoyed the first two-part series that we did on insecurities. It was absolutely yummy to me, freeing to me as well as thought-provoking. So I really hope that you got something out of it. I just want to remind you guys to like, comment, and share. Also subscribe, turn on the notification bell if you choose to. But I really appreciate your support. I really appreciate the love as well as the empowerment that you guys give me. It is truly fulfilling and it's truly rich to my spirit, to my soul, to my heart, and to what I do, because my goal here is for us to have soul transfiguration as well as identity evolution, because I just believe that we get so stuck in our inner core that we don't maximize the life that God has given us, and so I truly believe that whom the Son sets free is truly free indeed. And so as I'm getting free and I'm healing in my inner core, my goal is to spread the same experiences, the same knowledge, the same growth, to you guys, so that you can experience it. Because we don't oftentimes talk about our stuff. We talk about the good stuff, but we don't necessarily talk about the stuff that is quite messy in our lives. And so I really hope that my life is helping you guys. So connect with me so that we can have more conversation. My social medias is down in the description box, and how you can also get in contact with me. I would love to have discussions, open discussions, because this isn't just about me. I'm not doing this just for me, but I feel like, there are avenues and streams in which I can reach people, and the people that I connect with, we can reach people. So this is just beyond just one person impacting the world. I just feel like if I just get started, it will be a ripple effect, and change will be got change, and change will be got change, and then here we are, just a healing world, a healing nation, and of course I hope that we can go across the four ends of the earth, and we can be able to reach millions of people. So that's the goal, of being energy rich. And energy rich is who I persistently become, is what I passionately do, manifesting what I purposefully have. And so that comes from our inner core. That's what energy rich is. Having energy, like positive energy in your inner core, and becoming rich there. Many people associate rich with money, and of course that's one aspect of it, but they say health is wealth, right? And so if you get healthy in your soul, think about all of the opportunities and finances you can open yourself up to, because you open yourself up to purpose, right? You open yourself up to options. You open yourself up to opportunity with people that you can get in connection with by just being you and doing what you do. And that's me. That's why I'm doing what I do. That's why I'm energy rich, So this came out of, energy rich was born out of my pain. I've experienced, and I hope I don't cry, but I've experienced over the last 2 years, a great deal of pain, right? That opened me up to a world of trauma that I thought wasn't there, right? And so today, we're going to get into talking about past traumas and how to move forward. And no, this is not the end all be all. I am no expert. However, I do have educational and professional training, as well as knowledge to be able to give to you guys. And this is something that I've been studying for a few years now. And I don't say few meaning short, but these are, things. Trauma and healing has been a place that I have been educating myself on for a very long time. And so that I can pass down generational healing instead of generational curse, right? Or generational trauma. And I'm just getting myself together, which is why I'm talking slow. Because this is my passion, to help people who are dealing with trauma and past trauma. Because trauma hurts, right? We don't want to acknowledge trauma because it just adds to the burden that we're already carrying, right? And I believe, and I'm a Christian, right? Your belief is your belief, my belief is my belief. But I truly believe that whom the Son sets free is truly free indeed, right? And when I decided to say, you know what, God, I'm tired of carrying these burdens by myself. There was some trauma that I received from my bloodline, right? Because it was stuck in their tissue. And there were some traumas that I received based on my own experiences. And I don't want to allow those same traumas that was in the bloodline or that I experienced to get on the next generation following me. Meaning my children, their children, my sister's children, their children. I don't want it to go that deep. And so over the last 2 years, I decided to say, you know what? This trauma runs out with me. I'm not going to continue to let it run rampant and go another generation because it's not fair. So let me do the hard part. Let me do the hard work so that I can begin to transition and transform and transfigure a new form of wealth to generations to come. Because I don't want to give them a disadvantage. Because again, they don't deserve it. And so we don't, especially in my community, I'm not sure about other communities, but we don't want to address our traumas because we say, oh yeah, God gives his strongest battles to his toughest soldiers. I don't know where that ideology came from, but it needs to go right back down to the pit. Okay? Yes, we are tested. But all of that God gives is strong. No, because we all go through our own separate battles. And the weight of those battles is different for every person. Trauma is different for every person. Just like healing is different for every person. So what may work for somebody else may not necessarily work for you. And so you got to understand that just because someone may have said self-affirmations and that worked for them, that may not work for you. You actually may need to go seek therapy and seek counseling. You know, in 2021, that was the first time I actually went to go and see a therapist and a counselor about my individual situations, right? It was tough. It was tough because I'm so used to being so private, so locked in, thinking that I can handle everything. In the Insecurities series, I said that I've built up my emotional tolerance and my mental tolerance is so high that I know that when I'm being pushed beyond the highest tolerance that I have, right? But my physical tolerance is a bit different. And so when you're talking about trauma, we build up a tolerance on how much we can take. And when you hit the iceberg and you begin to sink. And a lot of us really don't know what trauma is. We think that, oh, just because we had a bad situation or a bad experience, that's trauma. That every situation may not be trauma. So let me give y'all a definition. And I'm getting myself together because I really feel I'll leave that out the door. But I'll give you a definition of trauma. I have my notes because I don't want to leave nothing on the table, right? And again, this may not be just one session, so we're going to talk about this some more. I was asked to talk about this specific topic by, one of my lovely friends on social media. And so trauma is a pervasive problem. It results from exposure to an event or series of events or experiences that are emotionally disturbing or life-threatening, with lasting adverse effects on the individual's functioning and mental, physical, social, emotional, and or spiritual well-being. And I would like to add financial well-being, because trauma has the ability to impact, infect, and infest multiple areas in our lives. And sometimes we operate not from the conscious, but from the subconscious, because we've packed so many things back there because we don't want to pay attention to those things. But you know when you have to pay attention to them is when you're triggered. Yeah, when you're triggered. Triggers will cause you to like travel back in time as if you were reliving that experience all over again. And so if you do not heal, you cannot reassign the definition, reassign the thoughts, reassign the emotions that is connected to that past event. That's why you still struggle. That's why you still have a void. That's why you still can't get vulnerable. That's why you're still scared. That's why you're still fearful. That's why you still doubt. That is why you're still stressed out. That is why you still continue to wear this mask as if nobody can't see you behind that mask. And you think that when you get home, that everything is all good. But I ask you, like, what happens when you live with you? When you go home, you're in your room, you're in your bed, and your thoughts is just running and racing. And it's telling you that you can't, that you won't, that you shouldn't, that you couldn't, that you should just die right there. What do? Do you make the decision to say, I'm going to give over, I'm going to give in to those thoughts, believe what those thoughts are telling me, or am I going to do the hard work, go back to the beginning? And that's the part that we don't want to do. We don't want to go back to the beginning to discuss the trauma. Childhood trauma, adolescent trauma, young adult trauma. We don't want to go back there because to travel back there hurts us the most. But whoever said that healing was beautiful? Healing is enjoyable. But whoever said healing was beautiful? It's when you get to the end game that you can see the beauty in your healing. And so trauma impacts and alters your cognitive skills. So it alters how you think, how you make decisions. Your physical health, such as the lack of exercise. You know, we want to be lazy, have excuses for why we can't do this and why we can't do that. Eating disorders, overeating, undereating. You know, then you have relationships, why you still coming up against or dating the same people, why your attachment style is different, why it seems like I'm attracting the same person. It's because you're attracting what's coming out of you. Your mental health, so depression, anxiety, suicide, bipolar disorder, all of those things is linked. Stress behavior. You know, how you act, why you do what you do, why you don't do what you should do, those type of things. And going back to childhood is your brain development. So depending on your environment that you was raised up in, that helps shape your brain development. Right? And so we don't tend to think about those things. We don't think about how we expose our children to certain environments that impact them. Because you're unconscious. You're unconscious of how that how that space or that environment is going to impact your seed. And so you have your children in certain areas and you wonder why their mouth is the way that their mouth is. What environment are they in? You wonder why they want to be left alone in their rooms and different things like that. What type of environment are you putting them in? What are you saying to them? How are you responding to them? And while we're on the topic of children, we got to stop acting like children don't have feelings or that they don't deserve respect, because they do. Even though you may be a grown-up or even though you may be the parent, a child still deserves respect. They still deserve for you to talk to them like you got some sense. If you want them to talk to you like they got some sense. We need to be mindful of that. What seeds are you planting in your children? How are you watering the seeds that are planted in your children? How are you setting them up for success and not allowing them to start over from ground zero? That decision is up to you. And I'm sorry, I have to say it. Stop having children if you're not going to set them up for success. If they got to start from ground zero. If they start from the same level as you and your ceiling is not their floor. So that they can exceed you. That's what I'm talking about. Setting your children up or setting the next generation up to receive generational healing versus generational trauma. And then you project your hurts, your pains, your traumatic experiences on them. Why are you mad at them? They are not the people that hurt you. You don't tolerate your kids. Those are promises to you. Those are gifts to you. You got to steward those children. Yeah. But I'll get off of that because I don't have children. I just have a goddaughter. And I know the seeds that I plant into my goddaughter and why I want to do what I'm doing right now for her. And my God, why am I getting so emotional this time? Because my goddaughter don't even know how she saved her godmother's life, right? Because just last year, it was, I don't know, I was just so burdened down by everything that I was going through. My emotions, my thoughts, my will to keep fighting. My whole soul was just broken. And I remember laying in my bed and seeing my goddaughter's face. And it was something about seeing her face that told me, you can't do this. I wanted to leave earth that night. And it was something about me saying, I know that my goddaughter and I have purpose together. And it was something about me seeing her face that said, you can't do that. So children serve a purpose. And you don't know, and every chance that I get, I look for an opportunity to serve my godchild, right? Because she deserves it, to serve her in a way where she knows that even at her age, she's respected. That I do what I do for her out of love. And even though I may not see her or talk to her every day, the fact of the matter is that I have an assignment over her life. Not when or if something happens to her parents, God forbid, but in the event that she ever needs influence, that she ever needs power, that she ever needs opportunity, that she ever needs a place that she can come and lay her head in safety, she knows she can come to her godmother. So I got to keep pushing. She's the next generation. I'm setting up and building up a legacy that I can hand to her and she can run with it. That's the goal. But see, we don't think like that. And so let me give you this tidbit, right? Healing is not about erasing or forgetting the hurt or the pain. And that's what we tend to think, right? We tend to think that if I choose to heal, then that means that I'm going to forget everything that happened. No. You're not going to forget everything that happens. But the goal is in your healing is to forgive the things that you cannot forget. Because it's always going to be up here. You're always going to have triggers. But the thing is that how do you control your triggers and your triggers don't control you? That's the goal. Let's think about that. So healing is not about erasing or forgetting the hurt or the pain. It's about reframing, reshaping your experiences so that they add depth and meaning to your life. Give it a different image. So when those triggers come and you see the images of what happened, whether you were there or not, whether it was trauma that was passed down or whether it was your specific experience, how have you reframed that so that the traumatic experiences work for you and not against you? So your healing is working for you. All the practice, all the discipline, all the change in habit that you've created, all the affirmations, all the groups, all the counseling, all the therapy, it's working for you and not against you. And what depth of meaning are you giving to your life? Are you living out your purpose? I get it. Not everybody's called to be an entrepreneur. Not everybody's called to be a preacher. Understood. But how are you impacting the environment that you're in? Like I tell people all the time, is it worth leaving earth full of all the purpose, all the promises that God put in you? Or do you want to get to him and say, God, I have fulfilled the purpose and the promises that you have given me. Give him a return on his investment. You got all this space, all this opportunity, and you choose to live a life that by dragging your feet and looking sad and searching in all the wrong areas because you got a voice in you and your soul looks like Swiss cheese. And then you have the nerve to talk about what he, she, and they going through and what he, she, and they doing. Talking and gossiping about somebody is not going to fix your issue. If we could talk about it, if we could be real about it, it's not. But people don't understand how powerful forgiveness is. What I went through the last 2 years, baby, let me tell you something. 2020 and 2021, they jumped me. I ain't even gonna hold you. They jumped me. They jumped me, and I felt like, you know what, I couldn't even find my balance to start kicking their tails back. I honestly can say that. But see, I understood and I understand now that my purpose for being quiet those 2 years with everything that I went through was for me. I had an inside scoop or everything that was going on in me. And we don't look at our current issues that way. We don't see how our current experiences can cause us to go inward so that we can reflect on the things that are going on inwardly. We just always point the finger, oh, they made me do this. She did this, and if he wouldn't have never did this, yeah, I done been through it. I done been broke before. I done had my heart broken before. I done been in places where people have stole from me before. I have been homeless before. I've been through it. I've been through it. But listen, I understand that I am not what happened to me. I am who I say that I am. But see, we don't understand that the biggest leech and the biggest disease out here is unforgiveness. We don't understand that. We'd rather walk around in unforgiveness than to forgive somebody else. And so let me leave you with this, right? We have over 6,000 thoughts per day. Thoughts you manifest. So the thoughts you manifest detail the narrative that you choose to tell. And so let's say you having some thoughts. And it could be a mixture of good and bad thoughts. But you would rather go and tell the thoughts that are bad because you want somebody to have sympathy for you. You want somebody to empathize with you. You want the attention because that one issue that may have happened in that day is not relative to this person, that person, or all the things that is presently going on with you. It's your issue if you choose not to heal. If you choose not to take the first step. But see, you can't conquer what you fail to confront. If you don't want to confront it, you can't build. It's not about getting over it. It's about getting through it. That's the thing. We got to learn how to get through it. We always want to, oh, I'm going to get over it. I'm going to get over it. When you ain't got nothing, you ain't got no bridge present that's going to get you from one side to the other side. So what you need to do, get through it. Psalms 23, get through it. You're not by yourself. Because at the end of all of your issues, or at the end of all, so you want to know how to move forward past your past traumas, is to get through it. Is to go through it. And it's going to be painful. It's going to be ugly. But think about the beauty that is on the other side. I had to realize that. And when I realized that, and as I continue to realize it, baby, when I tell you it's sweet like honey, it's shiny like gold, I'll take it any day. It was worth me going through what I went through. And see, again, going back to forgiveness, we don't understand the power of forgiveness. And so I'm going to leave you with this one. I promise you, this is my last note. I'm going to leave you with this until next time. Forgiveness is the act of opening your clasped hand, relinquishing your hurts, fears, anger, bitterness, resentment, jealousy, and unforgiveness, finding peace. So listen, the more you clamp your hands together like this, is the longer that you remain stuck. But when you release it and say, boy, I don't know, you don't know, when you let's say you eating sunflower seeds, right, outside. Right, and you spitting the shells in your hand. So let's say each time you say something out your word, that's jealousy, that's pain, that's resentment, that's unforgiveness, that's hatred, that's envy. Those shells is going into your hand. But baby, if you keep them in there, right? Think about your inability to function with just one hand. But if you release it, if you release the scales and not care about where it's going to go, so stop caring about if I release this hurt and I release this pain, I release this unforgiveness. You're thinking about where it's going to go because you're so comfortable with holding on to it. But when you release it, stop thinking about where it's going to go and think about where you're going to go. And that's until next time. I love you guys.